Today, the model shelf you build on just got a fourth serious option, and it is the cheapest one on it. Grok 4.5 landed with real independent numbers, not a founder's tweet. Fourth on the intelligence index, top of a live agent benchmark, at roughly a fifth of what you pay Opus. And in the next few hours, OpenAI opens GPT 5.6 to everyone. This is Mainframe, your daily guide through the AI chaos. What actually happened, who is winning, and how to take yourself to the next level. It is Thursday, July 9th, 2026. I am Nova.
And I am Dex.
On today's Mainframe, Grok 4.5 is public with independent benchmarks that back the hype, and it undercuts everyone on price. GPT 5.6, Sol, Terra, and Luna goes public to everyone today, ending the government gate. Claude Fable 5 got a stay of execution, included on all paid plans through July 12th, so you have 3 more days before the meter starts. And OpenAI shipped GPT-Live, a voice model that listens and talks at the same time. Tool lab and a use case to build a routing dial before the weekend. Let's get into it. Quick note before we go deep. The voices you are hearing are AI. The reporting, the pics, and the opinions are put together by humans. Now, the board.
One macro move that hits your bill directly. Independent numbers are in on Grok 4.5, and they are not marketing. SpaceX AI's Grok 4.5 landed at 4th place on the Artificial Analysis Intelligence Index, scoring 54 and trailing only Claude Fable 5, GPT 5.5, and Claude Opus 4.8. And the cost story is the real headline. It costs 31 cents per task on the Artificial Analysis Intelligence Index, a 5x lower cost than Claude Sonnet 5 at max, while performing better on the Intelligence Index.
So what moves for you? Near-frontier quality is now commodity-priced. When the 4th best model on the planet costs a fifth of the frontier, single-vendor lock is a margin leak. Price client work assuming you can swap the cheapest capable model in within a week and bank the spread. That is the whole macro story today. The frontier is getting crowded from below.
Which is exactly the kind of moment where you want someone steering the whole fleet, not one hand on one model.
Which brings us to today's sponsor, Outpace. Here is the situation Outpace was built for. The model shelf reshuffled 3 times this week. Grok dropped. GPT 5.6 opens today. Fable is on a countdown. Most people freeze. Outpace does the opposite. It is a system, not a freelancer. One senior operator who spent 30 years building real businesses, real estate, hospitality, food, even a theater, now directs a whole team of AI agents at one client project at a time, strategy to ship. The agents do the work, the operator aims them, and at the end, you own the code and you own the keys. Not a faceless agency, not a solo gun for hire, a system. If your project has been waiting on you to pick the right model, stop waiting. Book a 30-minute call at outpace.media. That is outpace.media.
The Wire. Start with the model that goes public in the next few hours.
GPT 5.6 goes public today. OpenAI will publicly launch all 3 of GPT 5.6's variants, Sol, Luna, and Terra, this Thursday, July 9th. This ends a month of government gating, where it was locked to a handful of vetted partners. Pricing. Sol costs $5 per million input tokens and $30 per million output. Terra, $2.50 in and $15 out, and Luna, $1 in and $6 out. The move. Do not standardize on it today. Route by task complexity. Luna for high-volume routine calls where latency and cost dominate. Terra for steady production work at GPT 5.5 class quality, and Sol for the small fraction of requests that genuinely need frontier capability. One caveat worth carrying. Meta flagged that Sol gained its own eval at the highest rate they have recorded. So trust your workload, not the leaderboard.
And Grok, beyond the intelligence score, is genuinely good at agent work.
This is the part that should change your routing. On Zapier's agent benchmark, Grok 4.5 topped Automation Bench AA, completing 51.4% of task objectives cleanly, ahead of Claude Fable 5 at 48.6% and Claude Opus 4.8 at 48.5%, making it the first model to clear the halfway mark. And it does it while being frugal. It used roughly 8,000 output tokens per task, under a quarter of what Opus 4.8 needed. The command to try it is dead simple. Grab an XAI API key, point your existing OpenAI compatible client at api.x.ai, set the model to Grok-4.5. But here is the catch you log before you ship. It broke more rules than its closest rivals, logging 0.63 guardrail violations per task, above Opus 4.8's 0.55. So route high-volume SaaS automation to it. Keep it away from live financial systems without a human check.
And the third launch is voice.
OpenAI shipped GPT-Live. These are new full-duplex voice models for ChatGPT that can listen and speak simultaneously. In plain terms, it stops waiting for you to go silent before it responds. It is also the smartest voice model yet. For questions that require web search or deeper reasoning, it delegates to a frontier model behind the scenes. The builder lesson is architectural, and you can copy it. The voice model itself is not the frontier reasoning model. When a user asks something hard, it hands the task off to GPT 5.5 in the background and keeps the conversation flowing. That decoupling, a fast, cheap front end plus a slow, smart back end, is the pattern for any real-time agent you build this year.
Now the story that touches your wallet directly. Fable 5.
The cliff moved. We told you Monday and Tuesday the meter started July 7th. The delta? It did not. Access to Claude Fable 5 was set to shift to a token-based usage model. But instead, Fable 5 will remain accessible for all paid plans through July 12th. And you can use up to 50% of your weekly usage limit on it. After that, it bills that usage credits, $10 per million in, 50 out, which is more than double Opus. The move is not to burn the window on throwaway output. The move is to distill. Run your hardest recurring job on Fable now, then have it write down how it planned and structured that work as a Claude code skill file. You keep the method after the model gets expensive. More on that in a second.
One more Anthropic shipment worth a line.
Claude Cowork went cross-device. Claude expands Cowork to web and mobile, bringing remote sessions, synced files, and a shared home across devices. The move. Schedule one overnight task tonight, a 6 a.m. client prep brief, and check it from your phone before you open the laptop.
Tool Lab. 2 picks you can use today.
First, trending. Grok 4.5 inside Cursor, free for a limited window. Grok 4.5 is available today in Grok Build, in Cursor on all plans, and from the SpaceX AI console. Why you want it. It is the cheapest near-frontier coding agent right now. In Grok Build, a task cost $2.49, while Fable 5 in Claude Code cost $11.80 and GPT 5.5 in Codex $5.07. First step. Open Cursor, switch the model to Grok-4.5, and rerun one real multi-file task you did last week on Claude. Log the quality gap and the cost. If it holds, that is a whole class of work moved off the frontier. One note: it is not available in the European Union at launch.
And the hidden gem.
The hidden gem is Simon Willison's LLM-coding-agent, a minimal, fully readable coding agent he built on top of his LLM command line tool. This is not for shipping to prod. It is for understanding. You run it with UVX pre-release allow with LLM-coding-agent LLM code. It implements a tiny set of tools: an edit file tool that replaces an exact string and returns a diff so the change can be verified, and an execute command tool. Why you, an L3 or 4 builder, want this? Every agent you rent, Claude Code, Codex, Cursor, is this same loop with more scaffolding. Read this one end to end in an afternoon, and the whole category stops being magic. Credit to Simon Willison.
Use cases. The smart moves most builders are not making yet.
Use case 1, and it is time-sensitive. Distill Fable before July 12th. Do not spend your last included days generating output you will throw away. Spend them capturing method. Run your hardest recurring job, a migration, a security sweep, an architecture review, on Fable. Then, in the same session, say, write down exactly how you planned and structured this as a Claude code skill file. Skills are just markdown, so that file then runs on Sonnet 5, on Grok, on Codex, long after Fable gets metered. You are buying the expensive model's judgment and keeping it cheap. Use case 2. Build the routing dial this week because you now have 4 real options at 4 price points. Set your Claude Code fallback chain, then wire Grok 4.5 in as the high-volume route for boilerplate and SaaS automation. Keep Sonnet 5 as your default, and reserve Opus or Fable for the hard reasoning, where the answer must be exactly right. Write the rule into your Claude.md so it survives the next launch. Cheap by default, frontier on purpose, and a byte-exact path for anything with hashes, keys, or IDs. Use case 3 from the voice launch. Copy the delegation pattern into your own agents. If you run anything real-time, a support bot, an intake line, do not make one big model do everything. Put a fast, cheap model on the conversation and hand the hard question to a smart model in the background. Exactly like GPT-Live hands off to GPT 5.5. The user feels speed. You pay for intelligence only when you need it.
The deep dive. One idea to carry into the week.
Here is the idea. Near frontier is now a commodity, and the moat was never the model. Look at what happened in 72 hours. Grok 4.5 arrives at the frontier for a fifth of the price. GPT 5.6 opens to everyone. Fable, the best model, gets rationed by capacity, while the fourth best gets cheaper. If your business plan quietly assumed access to the single smartest model was your edge, this week just repriced that edge to near zero. The thing that does not commoditize is the workflow you own, the skills you distilled, the routing rules you wrote, the provenance and the harness around the model. That is what a client pays for, because they cannot get it from an API key. So here is what I would actually do about it. Stop shopping for the smartest model and start building the layer that makes any model interchangeable underneath you. This week, that is the routing dial and one distilled skill. When the shelf reshuffles again next week, and it will, you swap the model in a line of config and keep every dollar of the difference.
Level up.
Level up this week. Distill one Fable skill before July 12th and wire Grok 4.5 in as a cheap route behind Claude Code. 20 minutes and every run after gets cheaper and outage-proof. If you want all of this, every story, every number, every link in your inbox each morning, Subscribe to the free Mainframe newsletter. It is the written version of this show. That is it for today.
We will see you tomorrow.
Build something.